Hello there, welcome to this video where you're going to follow me in composing a little jazz piece. The only reason I'm doing this is to give you an exercise to do yourself, which is to compose your own little jazz piece. But we're going to do it within the confines of the jazz theory that you are perhaps already aware of. 6-2-5-1 chord progression, floating 2-5-1 stuff, moving upper fourth, that kind of stuff. Now, the most music that you will read and learn, I'd say about 40 to 60% is based on notes of the chord. So I'm going to use the demonstration key of C for this. Of course, we can transpose it into other keys, but the focus here is demonstration key of C. I'm going to spontaneously work out a chord progression. The melody, I'll maybe start using maybe 90% notes of the chord, whichever chord I happen to choose. And then, we'll sprinkle that with some notes in between, some connecting notes, and see what happens. What I want you to be able to do is to, in composing your own piece, is to master the chord progression numerically so that the key doesn't matter. Don't learn it in a key in your mind, learn it numerically. And then try to hear the melodies coming in to you. That's the idea. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So hopefully, I'm not going to make it a long video. We're not going to worry so much about structure and bar numbers or anything like that. This is just a demonstration of what you can do yourself using any chord progression, any theory, and start to experiment with different styles. You may want to do it in a particular rhythm, in a particular time signature, particular tempo. Absolutely down to you. This is just one example of how to do it, and I hope it's going to be beneficial to you. And you can, of course, compose many different pieces. Composition is always good. In the description box below, there are many links to related videos, as always. And as always, likes, comments, subscriptions are welcome. Have a look at my books, blog, Patreon, and podcast. So, demonstration key of C. Now, I've honestly prepared nothing for this video. I haven't practiced, I haven't cheated. There's no notes here. There's just a power cable in my normal books. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let a rhythm come to me. I'm going to let a chord type, maybe a feeling of a chord type. I have a good video on naming chords and emotional connections. It's important to develop emotional connections to chord types because they are all completely different. So I'm not worrying about a melody yet too much, but I'm going to be playing within the confines of jazz theory. You don't have to. In my own compositions, which you may enjoy, you can find them on SoundCloud, a link below. I have about, I don't know, 15 or 20 or so, and I occasionally, I mean, even right here, here's a composition, just a bunch of chords, but somehow the melody is in my mind somewhere, and that chord combination, because I know it numerically, is in my head somewhere. So I've always got compositions around, but you may enjoy them. SoundCloud link below. So my point was about those, by the way, is that I don't follow strict chord progressions. If I hear a sound, I'll play it. One of my recent pieces called The Middle Way, for example, just goes from in the key of A, and then it drops down to A flat, the major 7. I mean, that's not jazz. That's not a 6-2-5-1 or anything. That's just key of A. Then it goes into D flat, which is our upper fourth. So there's an upper fourth thing, and it goes from a minor up to a major, and then it goes, I think, to B. So when I actually compose naturally, I do let myself go anywhere which feels and sounds right. But for this video, we're going to focus on this, the 2-5-1, 6-2-5-1 stuff, upper fourth, floating 2-5-1. Videos below if you don't understand what on earth I'm talking about, but hopefully you'll enjoy the video anyway. So in talking, I'm feeling a kind of a bouncy kind of jazz thing, like the song "Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me" comes to my mind. Link below for a version of that. A kind of in a kind of that kind of thing, that kind of swing, gentle but a bouncy one, not a kind of like a jazz thing, not that kind of thing, just but on a walking swing, that kind of thing. It's nice. So that's the feel, and I think maybe that's the tempo I can feel. But yeah, about that kind of bottom bom bom bottom bom, that kind of thing. Okay, so the chord type that now comes to me emotionally is a sixth chord. 1, 3, 5, 6. So key of C, demonstration key, master key, C major. Everything is going to be related to C major, even the floating 2, 5, 1s, where the 1 is temporary from one of the notes of the major scale of the master key major scale, which happens to be C. But this is transposable into all of the other 11 keys. So I don't have a melody yet, but I can see that it's going to begin with a sixth chord. So what am I doing with my left hand? I'm doing an octave C bass. You can play octaves closed, open, but open ascending, or descending, of course. And when I play naturally, I use a combination of closed, open, and open ascending and open descending. Ascending, descending, closed. So all different options. They were just random chords. So I've got an ascending open C6. Now I want to use a floating 2-5-1 onto the second, I think. That just comes to me naturally. So let's work out what a floating 2-5-1 is onto the second. I'd like to just also highlight that, as I said at the beginning, I'd like to remind you, I don't normally compose, well, I didn't say this, but I'm telling you now, I don't compose at the piano. I normally feel a chord progression. I don't know what key it's in because I don't have perfect pitch, but I find it at the piano. I have what you might call maybe relative pitch, but I just find, like when I did that piece earlier, the one I played in, I didn't know that was in the key of A. I just heard that progression. I just heard that into B. I didn't know what key it was happening. I just knew where to find it when I got to the piano. So when I am composing normally, I do it away from the piano, then I find it at the piano. But here we're of course doing it at the piano. But I'm still allowing naturally to come into me the chord type. So we've got a C6 chord, C, E, G, A. We've got the floating 2-5-1 onto the second, which we're going to do now. That just came from me naturally. It doesn't matter I'm at the piano to find that or not. So the second is going to be a minor. The second is often a minor chord. So because I'm doing a 2-5-1, which is E, A, D, onto the temporary 1, which is D, which is the second of the master key, C. So that's why it's a float. If I did a 2-5-1 onto the master key, it would be D, G, C, because that's the master key. But the fact is that each note of the major scale has its own 2-5-1 in its own key. That's why it's called a floating 2-5-1. It's just temporary. It's just, temporary 1, back to the master key. But the 1 is often one of the notes from the master key's major scale. Hopefully you understand that. Videos below in more detail. So floating 2-5-1 onto the second happens to be E, A, D in this particular key. Now, because I'm landing on a minor, the 2, this is a bit of jazz theory, the 2 is often a half diminished because reasons. So E half diminished, E, G, B flat, D, E half diminished, E minor 7 flat 5, same thing, E minor 7 flat 5. 2 ways to say it. So that's 2, then 5 would be a dominant 7 with a major third, A7, but I'll probably embellish that chord or enhance it because it's a very boring chord when it's just A7 and then D minor 7. So let's just see what happens. I'm just going to play that without a melody yet and just see what happens. Although I can actually now suddenly hear a melody. I think it starts on the 5. That's what I could hear. I promise this is not written down. This is coming naturally. That's the point. You will be able to do this yourself. There's no special ability I have here. I just have the theory and the major scales down. That's all. And the chords. Now these are notes of the chord C6. With a passing note of a D and maybe even the minor, which is a blues note. How nice is that? Nice blues note there. So maybe this. That's a bit of a nice pleasant thing. If someone likes to write words, you could perhaps put words to this. So I don't know how that's going to work with the chords, but let's just see what happens. Hopefully you'll follow along with this. So I think this should start before the bar. So that is beat 1. That's it so far. That's quite nice. Now I want to do the 2-5-1. I don't know what the melody is. I'll just play the chord. Okay, that's where we've got so far. Now I want to. Now you see it's coming to me. I can now feel that I want to just suddenly go up. I want to bounce off of that 2, floating 2-5-1 onto the 2, up a semitone, which is to the minor. We're always in the master key of C, so onto the minor there. Hold diminished. Oh, my G flat played. Normally that doesn't work. Thank you, G flat. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I don't know what happens here yet. I definitely want that to happen. That feels right. I don't know where we're going to go from here, but let's just work out a little melody. Let's just see what comes to me. I'm just going to see what comes to me. I can, see, this is the interesting thing. It's like it's my internal jukebox, but it's a song I've never heard before. I'm talking about playing the notes, and I'm just thinking that the first time I did it, it went like this. But this time, following the notes, because we're landing on an A, that's a C sharp, which is quite nice. So what about the first time, and then something with the E, maybe just the notes of the chord, onto the C sharp, for example, or maybe following what we did earlier, something like that, some little chromatic movement, something with that C sharp, because that's a good target note because of the A. It's a third of A. So let me just see what happens. And again, honestly, this is not prepared. Oh, in the left hand here, I just played C in the bass, and then I landed on the third. It's called a 10th stretch. See, that doesn't sound full enough for me. Let me just do it the other way I did. I quite like that. Let me just put that together. See, I put a grace note in. I went, I'm not going to do anything that I don't explain. So that's a bit of an interesting fiddly finger work there, because it's a bit of a weak finger, the little finger for most people. So what I'm doing there is, I mean, my fingers are different. It depends how I feel, you know. But what happens naturally, it seems, when I play that half diminished, is that I play the little finger on the D, but then my ring finger wants to just jump over and play that E, which is interesting. Yes, definitely. See, I'm walking down with my ring finger, middle finger. This is the thing. Don't worry about fingering. Play the natural fingering. I have a video, natural fingering, major scales, natural fingering. You must find your natural fingering. Screw tradition. So, here I played a G augmented, which is a raised 5th, dominant 7, G7 augmented. That's a good 5-1 chord. G is the 5th of C, 5-1. So I'll probably use that in the piece. That just happened randomly. Up to the floating 2-5-1 onto the 2. Something like that. Onto the D. I just want to keep going on that. Okay, now I have an idea. Now I have a melodic theme. Something like, because at the moment it's going, there's a little bit there, look. And then it goes, so why not keep doing that kind of chromatic dropping thing? Like that, and then even down again, you know? And then something. It's quite a nice little musical idea. Look what happened there. That just happened. I wasn't even thinking about my left hand, and it just walked up to the E. So that's quite nice. I quite like that, because nothing's happening in the right hand. We're just landing on a C, doing a closed octave, C, D, E flat, E, in the left hand, up to that E half diminished. A. Now I would like to play this chord, and you're thinking, perhaps, what on earth are you playing an F for in an A chord? Because there is no A there's no F, and there's even no G in an A major 7 chord. The G is in the dominant 7 chord, but the F, what on earth is that? It's actually, there's two ways to say this. It's either the 5th raised or the 13th flattened. And because I'm playing a dominant 7 and a 3rd and a 13 flattened, that's the voicing for a 13 chord, which is oh so jazzy. So I'm playing an A13 but flattened. So A flat 13. I'm not playing A flat 13. That's different. With the G flat that doesn't work. I'm playing A in brackets flat 13 or A augmented in a nice way. So, and that's a good 5 chord again. Flat 13, sharp 5. It's the same note in the key of A, but it's a good 5 to 1 chord, even if the 1 is a minor. Nice. So G7 augmented. Isn't that nice? I like that. Oh yeah, see, look, it just comes together. This is the magic. This is just wonderful. I wanted to go up to that E flat or E flat diminished. So, and because I'm going down chromatically, you know, the first time it was, and then the next time, and then the next time, and now what's the nearest note which I can chromatically go to based on the notes I'm playing in the left hand? G flat. So why don't we do that? And that is a really nice top. I'd love to hear this played by a tenor saxophone. Scott Hamilton, for example. Maybe I'll send him an email, ask him to play it. I like that a lot. So let's play that. So numerically, I know the master key is C, it doesn't matter, but master key of C. Numerically, 1, floating 2-5-1 onto the second, up to the upper semitone or to the flat 3, the minor, hold diminished. I'd remember that as minor because it is the minor. I wouldn't say a semitone up, I'd say minor because that's what it is. Keep it in the master key. Don't just say upper semitone. That's cheating and it's not helping you at all. So 1, floating 2-5-1 to the 2, up to the minor as a whole diminished. I don't know what's going to happen after that. Ooh, I like that a lot. Okay. Now I can hear myself already going 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. That's what I can hear at the moment. So 3, E. It's quite common that the 3rd is a half diminished. And because I already used it as a half diminished when it was the 2 of D, kind of why not play the same chord, you know? Why go to a minor? I quite like the idea of playing that flat 5 in there just to, because you often can do that with a 3, because I'm now back into the master key. So E is now the 3rd of C and not the 2nd of D, because I'm not doing a 2-5-1 onto D. I am in its own little world, but that's not 2-5-1 onto the 2. I'm continuing by going 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. I'm going back to the beginning. So I'm labeling it numerically in musical context. Musical context is a very important word. So I have no idea what the melody will do. Let me just see if I can hear anything. D in the bass. E flat, whole diminished. The B, we're going to play notes of the melody mainly, which is, you know, so of course the B flat is the nice note. It's the flat 5 in the key of E. It's a blues note from the blues scale. So that's a really nice note to hit. Blues is kind of in my blood, so I have to play that. The B flat is the flat 9 of A, which is the 6th. A 6th chord doesn't have to be minor 7, it can be with a major 3rd. So that B flat changes from being a flat 5 in the E chord to being a flat 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all major scale stuff, flat 9 of A. So this, I definitely want to do something around here. So just go back to the D. That's nice, no? Maybe keep the B flat down a bit longer. The flat 5 definitely works here. Two, 5, 1, but that 5, I can hear it now. It doesn't sound nice. What I'm going to do, I'm chucking in some theory here as well on purpose. I'm going to use a tritone substitution. Tritone substitution is where you play the note and a chord based on that note, often a dominant 7, which is 3 whole steps above where you are. Now the quick way to find that is to find the flat 5. So I'm going to play D as normal, whatever the melody was. And when you go to the 5 of G, I'm not going to play G, I'm going to play its tritone substitution. So that would be whole, whole, whole. We're not doing major scales, we're just playing whole steps, which gives you this D flat, which is the flat 5. So it's quicker to find the tritone by playing the flat 5. So I'm going to play D flat. Now that is right below the D that I'm already on, because I can play any D anywhere. You know, D flat is D flat. It's the flat 5 of G. It doesn't matter where you're playing it. So we're going to go D minor 7, D flat 7, which is a tritone of G. So that's technically a 5 chord, and then to the 1, the 6. Now let me just try and get that melody in the right hand a little bit. It was going from the D. I like that. And then something like, that's nice, no? Now we could land on the 9 of D, or just the minor of D. I mean, what do we do? Let's land on the F. It sounds softer, it sounds more gentle. Let's do it. Ah, yes. Yeah, now exactly right. So listen to this. So I'll go from the beginning because it's kind of in my head. I know the chords now as a pattern, but I know them numerically. I'm seeing the numbers as I'm playing. Sorry. I should have played that B flat longer. Now listen to this. Minor first. Now you may like that, you may not. I do. I like this note. What note is it? We're in the key of D flat at the moment. That note isn't in the key of D flat, so it must be a weird extension, modification, alteration, and it is an altered note. This is the key. This is the word. This is the key word. Sharp 11. It's an altered note. 8, 9, 10, 11, sharpened. So I'm playing D flat 7, sharp 11, which is really nice. So that gives a tension. So we're landing on a minor, which is safe. Sharp 11, and that G is the 5th of C, so let's keep it, and it suddenly becomes soft and safe and nice again. So that's really nice, so let's play it. Let's play it better than that. I wanted to play an octave lower, but my laptop is in the way, so I can't do the octave I'd like to do. Ah. Oops, see, I need to be very careful here. I'll play it slower. I'm trying to do that. I like that because it's like a sudden chord. 3, 6. So I need to stay on that flat 9. G augmented with a 7, G7 augmented. Play it again. I already know what I'm going to say later. It's already in my head. Now here, I'm going to do a 2, 5, 1 onto the 4. The 4th of C is F. F's 2, 5, 1. You should know these instantly. G minor 7, C7, F major 7. And that's what we're going to do. And I'm actually on the G already. So that works really nicely. So let me just go into it quickly. You're going to have dreams about this. Not nightmares, hope. You're going to have dreams about this, not nightmares, hopefully. minor 7 into C7. I'm just playing the basic chords here. I probably won't play exactly like that when I play it. And we're going to go into F something. Here I'm playing F major 7, but I'm just playing the G, the 9, 8, 9. F major 7, put the 9 on the bottom, don't need the bass, don't need the root note because I'm playing it in the bass. And I think that can go up a fourth to B flat something as well. So I'll just go from the E part, the floating 2-5-1, onto D, onto the minor whole diminished, 3, 6, with that flat 13 or sharp 5, minor, nice soft note, sharp 11, and then 2-5-1 onto F, but now I want to play it a bit more how I might play it naturally. I'm playing G in the bass, B flat for the minor, open, ascending, so it doesn't matter if you can't reach it together, I'm jumping anyway. And in the right hand I'm playing G minor 7, but I'm putting the, I'll do it here, I'm playing the G minor 7, G, B flat, D, F, but I'm putting the 9 on the bottom and on the top, so my ring finger has to play the F in the middle. That's quite a big quite a big position, but you don't have to do that. You could just do it here. Just put the 9 on the bottom. These are just transition chords. There's no melody here, so it really doesn't matter where you play the chord. We can even go up like this. You can play inversions of the chord and then slip into the C7 inversion, you know, any ones you want. So let's go into that from the floating 2-5-1 onto D. So what happened in my right hand? I'm playing A flat triad. Why on earth am I playing an A flat triad with a C7? You might call it an upper chord structure. You should call it an upper chord structure, but I'm actually highlighting notes of interest. What is this note? It's a sharp 5, but it can't be a sharp 5 because there's already a normal 5, so it has to be the other option, a flat 6. You don't call a 6 a 6. You call it a 13 when there's a dominant 7 involved. So I'm playing a flat 13. Nice note. What am I playing up here? C. It looks like A flat, but it isn't. It's an upper chord structure. C is the root, of course, and this is the sharp 9. It's not a minor because I already have a major third in the chord, C7. So it can't, a third can't be a major and a minor. This is not quantum mechanics. It is a 9 sharpened, so that's a nice chord. That is C. You don't need to say 7 because it's implied in the extension stuff. C, sharp 9, flat 13, or flat 13, sharp 9. I think I would say it flat 13, sharp 9. Don't know why, it just sounds nicer. Just one of those jazz language things. Just a bit of grammar, jazz grammar. Jazz, C, flat 13, sharp 9, definitely. And then I would naturally just play that. Okay, so floating 2-5-1 onto the whole diminished on the minor, 3, 6, 2, 5 as a tritone substitution, 2-5-1 onto the 4, and then some melody here using the notes of the chord. Well, that's quite nice. Oh, and I can see already what's going to happen here. We're going to go up another fourth. You're going to remember this numerically if you'd like to learn it. So we've done 2-5-1 onto the 4, upper 4, and then I want to go. Let's just keep going. Upper 4 and upper 4 again. Let's just see how that sounds using notes of the chord or notes of interest. So now if I play a B flat 13, dominant 7, A flat, third, D, 13 or 6, G. When I play a 13 voicing, it's nice to play a 9 because it's right under the finger. Why not? So B flat 13 with a 9, B flat 13/9. And if I play the same notes as I was playing, in the key of F, that's 3, 5, 7. If I play the same notes, it sounds different, no? Because the note values have changed. So I'm playing now against a B flat 13/9. I'm now playing the same notes, but the note values are major 7, which is a nice clash sound, but it's musical context, so it's okay. 9, and this is another sharp 11. 8, 9, 10, 11, sharpened. It's not a flat 5 because there's a 5 implied in this chord. It is the F, but it's implied. So I'm playing a sharp. I can't play a flat 5. I can't technically name it flat 5 because there's already a perfect 5th in the chord. It might be actually quite nice to maybe play the 4 because it sounds a bit more kind of bluesy in a way, but let's just see how it sounds. Or, what am I doing? I don't know, they both sound quite nice to be honest. I like the E because I like that sharp 11, but that's a bit more of a bluesy sound. So, your choice. And then we're going to go up a 4th again to E flat. Let's make that a major 7. So I'm just going up in 4th. So I know that C is the master key. We've done a floating 2-5-1 onto the 4, the F, which is where we are now. We're going to go up another 4 to B flat from its own major scale, up a 4. Or whatever. I like the A personally. And we're going to go up another 4 within its major scale up to E flat. I don't know what I'm going to do there. Maybe I could just move that shape, which repeats, and then just move it down a little bit, something like that. And then when we go to when we go from E flat to A flat, which is a 4th, these notes work because C is in the chord, B flat is the 9, and G is the major 7. So that's quite nice. So let's just, I have no idea. Let's see what happens. Sounds quite nice now. Yeah, I'm playing the same notes, and again we get a sharp 11. I like that. Major 7, 9, sharp 11. I don't want to play the 3 in A flat because it's just a boring note, and I don't like boring notes. So I'll try to remember that. I don't know how long is the video. Just half an hour or so. I think I can quickly get back to C using just notes of the chord, but it's primarily about mastering a chord progression. That's what this is really about, your own chord progression. Not something, you may take the chords from this and play your own melody, and good for you. If you want to post that, absolutely amazing, do so. And maybe this song already exists, maybe not the melody, but I'm sure there's a song somewhere that goes 1, 2-5-1 into the 2, up a semitone to the minor, whole diminished, 3-6-2-5-1. I'm sure that exists somewhere in the Great American Songbook, in the real books, in the jazzily cheap books. So let's see what happens. Let me just play that. I like the bit. G augmented with a 7, G7 augmented. Now 2-5-1 to the 4. I'm playing it as blocked octaves here, closed octave. Just went up a 4, same melody, same notes now, up a 4th again to A flat. I like to play that twice that time. First time on E flat, playing 3 in the key of E flat. First time is 3, 5, major 7. And then we go on A flat, it's major 7, 9, sharp 11. Slow down the video, play it back, master the major scale, and it's easy. Major 7, 9, sharp 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, sharp 11. 8, 9, 10, 11, sharp 11. Okay, so it's quite nice. And now let's just get ourselves back to C by playing, here was an A flat major 7, I just inverted it, of course. The inversions don't matter because I know what notes I need to play. I could have done that, could have done anything. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to do a floating 2-5-1 onto D, again, but I'm going to land on a D7 with a sus, suspended 4. Which is going to go back to a normal 3rd when it works, and then that's going to change into the minor to become 2, 5, G7 I'm playing, just inverted. 5, back to 1 on the C. Then we'll go to that G7 augmented, start again. So I'll go into the F part. 2, 5, a nice one. Upper 4, same notes. Upper 4 again, slightly different notes. Upper 4 again, same notes again, but D twice. We're going to go 2, 5, 1 on 2. Maybe like that. Maybe just keep those same notes. Keep it simple, because this is not so much about the melody, but it sounds quite nice anyway. Let me just go onto it and see how it feels. This is what you'll be doing. Oh yes. I think that there's something there. There's something there. So 2, 5, 1 to D. Just letting it go through my mind. I think that sounds nice. So let me just play the chords only. Okay, that's what it is. I have to do them quickly. I did them for too long. So it's going to go. Well, that was nice. To hold that A down, that was nice. Like this. Oh, okay. I'm going on to D7. So I'm just playing notes of the chord. I'm just highlighting the notes of the chord as a melody. Okay, it sounds nice to just play the melody note, sus4, a G, back down to the 3rd, and then we can just go to the F, to the minor. Now I'm playing G7, okay, that's nice. G7 augmented, and I'm playing a flat 9. 8, 9, flattened. The flat 9 works with, 9s work with anything. Flat, sharp, play around. The flat 9, as I said earlier, is nice. Flat 13, flat 9, sharp 9. These are all nice 5-1 chords. And that will be how it begins. So I'll try to play it from the beginning. Like that. Hold the flat 9, sharp 11, G7 augmented. To F. Like that, upper 4 again, upper 4 again. Okay. Yes. I managed to get through it. Play it back a few times, watch it, ask a question, you'll get it. Hopefully over 40 minutes or so, I've inspired you to do this yourself. The melodies came from somewhere, the chord progressions were still spontaneous and improvised, but following a little confine of jazz theory, 2-5-1s, upper 4, da, da, da. I used a variety of chord types, 6ths, 13ths, 9ths, flat 9s, flat 13s, sus4, whole diminished, half diminished. A lot of chords in there. Yours doesn't necessarily need to be so complex, but it might be an opportunity to start trying out some new chords. And my melody was based 90% on melody notes. Of course, it can be developed. This is just a quick video. But you can see that in 40 minutes, I've kind of composed, roughly, let's say, a song. And I could have written words to that, perhaps. And, it would perhaps be quite nice. And then if you can imagine that being played by different jazz, just imagine that this becomes a jazz classic, let's say. And you can imagine this being played by different instruments at different tempos. It could be a bossa nova. I think that'd be quite nice. Improvisers playing over that chord progression. Just imagine if it was an improviser playing saxophone and I'm just playing the chords behind. Just imagine that feel. See, it's just a nice chord progression, you know. I just happened to put a nice melody to it. Well, I think it's quite nice. Hopefully you'll have fun, post your progress, and everything's good. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my books, blog, Patreon, podcast, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.